Welcome to I Am Prime Minister, where well-known celebs unleash their outrage about life's annoyances and tell you how they'd sort it out.
Every man must experience the period pain.
If you talk or use your mobile phone during a theatre performance, I would taser you.
I don't know whether this fits in, but people
Doesn't matter,
who
tell
don't
us.
pick up their dog poo really annoy me.
I Am Prime Minister, the only political podcast that has absolutely nothing to do with politics.
Hello and welcome to I Am Prime Minister, the podcast where we make your favourite comedians and celebrities Prime Minister for a day and let them resolve every issue they think is wrong with the country. Our brand new Prime Minister today, we would like to introduce you to, after a landslide victory last night in the polls, is Emmanuel Sonubi. Emmanuel, congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was I want to say it was tough, but it seemed to be quite easy. I had a few policies that I think everyone just went with.
Now, thank you so much. We're going to go through some of your policies with you. Lauren Bell-Cross, who is now your new chief political advisor, and I are just going to basically work out how we're going to do it, what exactly you want, and how we can deliver this to the public to make sure you get the most out of your premiership. Can we talk about your first policy, please?
People who post online questions that they could quite as easily Google. They are some of the worst people. And I think we all know the type of people. If you've ever gone on Facebook and seen one of your friends has put something on like, going to New York, has anyone got any recommendations? Just tell us you're going to New York. That's what you really want to say. You don't care what we think. You could find that out. You just want us to know you're going to New York.
Now, I see a lot of this. What are we doing with these people? So obviously this is an issue. Is this a prisonable offence?
Oh, yeah. I think all of the ones I'm going to talk about are prisonable.
Okay. Is that what we're going for today? It's just people that need to be in prison.
Yeah, either that or maybe if we could bring back public flogging, something to that extent. I mean, I'm not adverse to it. I'm not adverse. I like to think of myself as open-minded when it comes to politics.
But there are limits to your open-mindedness, and these thickos have stretched your limits that far.
Yes, these are the things that I can't deal with. The worst ones are people that want to tell you they've done something nice just so they can say they've done something nice. And I remember seeing one that said, I'm dog sitting for my friend's ill puppy because they're going to be away for quite some time. And I thought it's a lot of responsibility, but it's fine. Does anyone know what kind of dog food is best? And I thought, that poor dog. I don't want, no, you just want to tell us you're doing something nice. That's it. Yeah. And that's fine. But people that do nice things so they can say they've done nice things aren't nice people.
And you're putting them in the same category as these people who Google things. Look, I think the reason these people have never been dealt with before is because most of them vote Conservative. So if we put most of these people in prison, the Conservatives would absolutely lose the vote, because it's the same people on my Facebook. It's the same family members who ask things like, can anyone recommend a good local plumber? And then say something really unsavory about migrants. It's sort of like, it's amazing. They can find the information they need on how many people are crossing the channel every day, but not who can do my pipes.
But not Yale.com or checkertrader.com.
So look, I mean, is it mostly, you think, your policies going forward are going to be dealing with how people have become rather than other issues in society? Do you think that's the most important thing we need to do?
I think if we can look at how people have become, we can look at other issues in society. Because if you think back to before social media, people did nice things to do nice things.
Yeah.
There was no sharing a Just Giving page. You just gave and no one knew that you gave.
I do hate on Just Giving pages that there is the option to leave your name.
Yeah.
Because I always go, because this is, I don't know if this happens in your work, Lauren, but in comedy, every so often, like a comedian will be ill or something, and someone will share a Just Giving page. The first thing I do before I give is I go through and I see which of the millionaire comedians has given the most money.
Yeah. And do you sort of mark them down by like, I know you're worth more than that, you fucking cheat, so
you're like,
give it a bit more.
Come on, Manford, 50 quid, what you playing at?
I think that it exists everywhere, this kind of stuff, when you like, at least if you're going to give big or if you're going to bid, don't put your name to it. Don't just sort of put your name next to something like, oh, look, I'm being lovely and being nice and giving. No, no one cares. Either give more. If you're going to do that, you got to give at least a decent amount, like above of 1G. Even if it's Jeff Bezos, I'd be like, okay, fine, fair enough.
I just think if you do something nice, do it for the sake of being nice. Don't do it because someone's recording you give a homeless person a sandwich, because what you're doing really is they're asking them to sell their integrity for your likes.
Yeah.
But there's this really sort of thing that you've hit the nail on the head there. There's now this entire category of influencers or whatever who go around filming themselves doing nice deeds, like giving money to homeless people, giving sandwiches to homeless people. Like, why is this a category of job that has been invented?
They're not making them sign release forms either.
Exactly.
I think this is a really interesting part of society you've hit on here, and that is, I also agree, is a problem. People just publicly doing everything. Maybe a policy we can go for. How do we anonymize everyone online? Basically, maybe no one is allowed to post anything that is sort of showing their goodness. If you give to a charity, it becomes illegal to talk about it.
I mean, that's definitely a way, isn't it? You think,
I imagine charity donations would go through the floor, though.
Exactly, because people like to do nice things, so other people know they do nice things. And there are a few that do nice things, and if it wasn't for the media, I don't think anyone would know. Like, I think it was the Haiti disaster that John Travolta, who's a pilot, just went out and bought a load of different types of aid, blankets, food, everything, chartered a plane, flew it over, gave away all the stuff, flew back, didn't say a word, but because of the press, it got noticed. But he never posted anything about it. It was just there.
Well, it's one of the famous stories was George Michael used to love Deal or No Deal, and a woman on there was playing because she wanted IVF. And she didn't win any money. So George Michael called up the show and he paid for her IVF treatment. And it only came out after he died because he specifically asked for no one to find out about it. So maybe, look, all of these people working in the charity sector, the CEOs, the managing directors, the head of DFID at the moment, maybe we just sack them off and we just get celebrities in to do it on their own time. Because they're doing it anyway. We might as well bring them into your government.
Yeah, most of them do it in the...
Also, what a great cabinet that would be. Akon, George Michael. That'd be a bit smelly now, but never mind.
Those cabinet meetings would be awesome.
Yeah,
cabinet meeting by seance. Shall we bomb this country? Oh, George is moving to the Y.
George did it. And you see what he's done to a photo booth, so you can't put it past him.
Let's move on to your next policy, please.
My next policy is internet trolls, keyboard warriors. I think what should happen. I have a plan.
Yeah,
plan's a very simple plan. Everyone, the moment you sign up to any sort of socials, your home address details need to be put in.
Yeah.
If you do anything trolly, for example. And this has taken off an episode of The Orville that I watched, where everyone has got a like or dislike badge. And if you get too many dislikes, you enter a public flogging, if you like.
I can see a theme forming here now, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I mean, it's most of my policies are prison or public flogging.
Yeah, look, I think fair enough. I think a lot of people need to think about these things, especially the embarrassment side of it. If you're embarrassing people online, so the trolls. So you have to prove your home address. I like that a lot.
Yeah, you put your home address on, and it's not made public yet. It's not.
No, of course.
But if you receive so many dislikes for something that you said that there is trolling of someone else, then your details are just released and the public can do what they want.
Wow. So like proper vigilante justice on that.
I'm not condoning vigilantism. I'm just saying that if you get too many dislikes, your address becomes public.
I've had people get in touch with something like quite bad, and then I've replied going, that's a bit extreme. And then they've apologized. So like, oh, I didn't realize you'd see it. I'm like, then why put it out there anyway?
Yeah, because you can. Like, for all the years I worked outside of nightclubs as a bouncer, people have got a very different approach when the threat of being punched in the face is real.
Yeah.
It's very easy to say what you want on a keyboard, but say it to someone's face. That's what I think should think of all the people that criticize Anthony Joshua. I think we should have a day where all of them have to turn up and get in a ring and say it to his face with no gloves on.
Yeah.
So speaking of this, something very similar to this did actually happen to not involving Anthony Joshua, but involving another heavyweight boxing
Woodhouse.
champion, Deontay Wilder, as well.
Really?
So
well, it's happened a few times.
Former heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder was getting some horrendous sort of racist abuse towards his daughter by some online troll. He said, "Go on, get in the ring with me if you dare." And obviously Deontay battered the shit out of him, which I think, that's kind of how these people should be dealt with, really. If you're going to sort of if you're going to give it out like that, you should at least be prepared to be punched in the face by a former heavyweight boxing
I do
champion.
think, Emmanuel, we've gigged together a little bit. I don't think people would heckle you. I don't think you get heckled because in the flesh you're a big guy, right? And people go, it's probably not worth the hassle.
So, weirdly enough, I've had people heckle me, but it's more I've had people scream compliments at me loud in the middle of the set.
I mean, just to make sure you don't hit them. You're doing great, buddy. Leave me be.
I'm not sure you understand how heckles work. It's really...
That's how scary you are. They can feel that bouncer energy. Like, doing a good job, man. Keep going.
I bet your parents are proud.
I think the big problem here is people put too much of their opinion online with these, especially trolls. Maybe we bring in policy where you have to pay per tweet. I think people would really think about the stuff they put out there then.
So I'll tell you what you could do. There was a comedy special by Chris Rock years ago when he said you don't need gun control, you need bullet control. He goes, let people buy guns, but charge them $5,000 for a bullet. That way,
absolutely.
Someone got shot, they deserved it. And there is something that you could do with this. So you could say, if you go to pay to tweet, positive tweets are free.
Great idea.
Negative tweets are $1,000.
Yes, and it all goes into the tax pot. Yeah. So if anyone is negative, there is also a positive to it as well.
And then what you could do then is because then you could hope people will just go, oh, this is positive and tweet. If you click positive and it's found out to be negative, it's a $10,000 fine.
10. Oh, yes. What do you think about this, Lauren? Has there been, obviously, they're now charging to use X, formerly Twitter, for people, but has there ever been anything like this floated before where you have to pay to use?
Are they charging to use it, or are they charging just to get the blue tick?
No. So they're charging, it's a blue tick at the moment, but we're talking about, charging for negative things online. This has never been policed like this before. Surely this is an innovation.
I think it is an innovation. Yeah, I think the whole point is, it's free, and that's part of the attraction, really. Because I think when Zuckerberg created Facebook, he created it just so he could perv on like girls in his college dorm, so he could see who's hottest. So it's social media got its creation in this kind of oddity and not this empowering network that happens to be created for the good of humanity. No, it was created because of some nerd being a pervert. And this is the sort of evil it's spawned, that all the benefits happen to be tangential.
And then maybe because because it costs nothing to be nice, that's what we could call the policy for the policy, couldn't we? The costs nothing to be nice policy. Yeah. I think it will make society a better place. Prime Minister, this is one of my favourite policies I think we've ever had. We're going to move on to your next policy now, which is to do with work interviews. You believe they should be held in gyms and bars.
Gyms or bars? Because
either or, not both. That's not like two stages of interview.
The first one, I went with bars. And I think you should have your interview in a bar, and the interview does not start until either your fifth pint or your third shot or your fourth wine. Those are the parameters. Because that's when I'm going to find out who you really are.
Okay, so this is a work and pensions policy. We don't get many of these. This is interesting. And is this because you've interviewed people before and it's transpired they have ended up being bad at the job?
Either I've interviewed people or I know what I've said in interviews where I definitely wasn't qualified for that job. I've never done any of my hobbies or interests. I didn't work at the last place as long as I say I did. and that reference doesn't exist. I know those things, but I've used a very, very attractive font. I've spoken very, very eloquently in the interview, and I've got the job.
Yeah, I mean, this must happen all the time, Lauren. This is when I say I haven't had a job interview. I've never had a full-time job apart from comedy. So I started really young, so I've never had to lie. But Lauren, have you lied before?
In a job interview?
Yes.
No, because I tend to think maybe I'm just too much of a coward on this, but I tend to think in that kind of professional environment, you're going to get found out eventually.
Do you reckon?
Like,
Did you ever get found out, Emmanuel?
Yes, many times.
Give us an example of this. This is really interesting to me.
So one of my first jobs, I used to work in tech. I used to work in IT. A friend of mine told me when we left college, if you work in IT, you'll always be able to get a job because there will always be IT. And I thought that is good advice. And I was good at sales. So I went for this job that was selling what was called back then an MCSE course, which was the programming course that Microsoft had. And there was a programming course and a networking course and a web design course. My job was to sell these courses to prospective candidates that wanted to, because they were about $4,000 a term at the time. So you're basically selling what would be the equivalent to a university course. But because it's a private institute, that's why the costs were what they were. So I managed to convince them that I knew all of these things. And I'd Googled a lot and I'd done a lot of research, and I knew the right answers to the right questions. And I learned everything like a script. So my job was to walk these people around and show them the campus and show them where things are and excite them about the course. And I did it very, very well for the first 2 days. Third day, I just got cocky because I thought, I'm nailing this. I've sold some courses. And there's always a bit which is a Q&A. And this kid asked me in the web design course, what language do they teach the web design in? And I thought, what a stupid fucking question. What language do they teach this in? So I said, English, not he meant what programming language. So I stood there sort of giving this kid a full-on comedy roast about how dumb he was to say this, that this is hilarious. And I'd gone back and I told my boss what had happened, because this was now, workplace banter, get everyone laughing, we could be friends. And I told him exactly what I'd said and exactly what I did. And he said, are you being serious? I was like, yeah. And he was just like, you're fired. Understand why? Because I was like, I don't get what I'd said. And I'd left the building by that point, and I'd got on the phone to a friend and I told her, I was like, I don't know what's happened. I thought that was hilarious. And he was like, please tell me you didn't say that to the kid. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, he meant what programming language? I don't know what that meant. I barely know what that means now. It was like he was talking about JavaScript or something like that. I was like, that's Star Wars. And he was like, I can't help you if you're going to be like this. So yeah, that was fun.
That is, I mean, it's the fact you went, I'm going to tell you told on yourself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the funny bit, man.
I would never have known. The kid just didn't take the course. My boss would never have known. But I was like, yeah, this is a workplace of banter.
I think this is quite interesting because I suppose lying on your CV, especially, it's been, I guess people do it to an extreme degree, is fraud. But it's not illegal, is it, Lauren, to lie on your CV?
No, and look, there's been many examples of politicians doing a bit of plagiarizing and being economical with the truth in stuff they've actually put out there. So
really,
interestingly enough, Joe Biden, famously when he was running for president back in the 80s, which shows you how old he is, which is quite
back
terrifying.
In the 1880s.
He plagiarized a speech from Neil Kinnock, the then leader of the Labour Party, where he talked about being the first Biden in 1,000 generations to go to university, which was pretty much a copy-pasted speech from Neil Kinnock.
Oh, no.
And then there was the old case of Jeffrey Archer. Again, another Have I Got News For You case of it all going terribly wrong because of Have I Got News For You. Jeffrey Archer being accused of various bits of plagiarism, by Michael Crick and then being caught out for it and then eventually going to jail. I'm not sure if he went to jail for plagiarism, but let me just...
No, but he did go to jail in
check.
the end. I think this is quite important because so many billions must be wasted every year on people getting jobs and then not being qualified and quickly having to leave and the whole process starting again. I think this is a really smart policy. So we're saying 5 beers.
Yeah, I'll go 5, dependent. And I think it should be dependent on their weight as well, just to keep it.
So that's it. You walk into a job interview on the scales, please.
On the scale. So that's the first bit of honesty. Where on the scales have been, there's no shaming. This is just about
no, of course not.
What you're gonna drink, and I think because that's when you find out who people are when they've had a few.
Yeah,
and then just have a
like
conversation
this.
and throw in a random question that makes them answer something on the spot. But then I thought not everyone drinks, so the other option is to go to a gym.
Okay, nice. A sober option.
Yeah, we'll have a sober option. We'll go to the gym and we'll have a workout because, again, you can see what type of people are in the gym. You just give them a workout to do, a basic workout, nothing too strenuous, and see how far they're willing to really push themselves. But those I've found are the 2 places where people really show who they are.
The bar and the gym.
Bar and the gym.
That's really interesting. With the gym one, I suppose, I am a recent gym goer, really. And before that, I'd go every so often and I would just try and cheat my way through it in the easiest way possible, which meant I wouldn't be good to employ.
Yeah. And you'll see the people that will go there and try and have the easiest workout so they can say, yeah, I've been to the gym. And you feel better about yourself because you've been. Yeah. But you didn't work as hard as
in your heart of hearts. Yeah. I agree with that. I love this. This is great. These are really good policies. I think this is going to be a very successful Premiership, if I'm honest. The next 5 years are looking good.
I really think that this will have a trickle effect down and really help everyone else.
And, okay, let's see what we think of your final policy, please.
What was the final one?
The parking.
These are some of the worst people ever. People that will take up more than one space.
Yeah.
And there's 2 ways to do this. People that park over the line in a car park.
Mm.
Like you've got mirrors. Most cars now have got cameras. You can see where you're parking. And the other one are selfish parkers when it comes to parallel parking. And you could move backwards and there would be enough space for another car. But you have judged this incorrectly and now a space has been lost. And it is always when someone else really needs one. I think if your car is scratched, then there will be no compensation for you, and you should know better.
Interesting. I feel incredibly passionately about this as well because, like you, I spend my life maybe cutting it a bit too fine, getting to gigs and looking for a parking space. And there would have been a parking space if someone else had been considerate. But now I have to be late because they haven't parked correctly. Yeah. Yeah, I hate this. It's so annoying. Also, I am currently teaching my other half how to drive. Right. And she is really good at parking. Like, she can do it. It's great. And then you see all these people, like, she'll parallel park. And I'll go, that's perfect. And she goes, but I'm not parked like them. And I'm like, they're the cunt, not you.
They've done it wrong.
Yeah, they've got a license somehow, and you yet to have passed a test. It's really frustrating. Lauren, I mean, do you drive, Lauren?
Learning at the minute.
Yeah, and are you finding this that lots of people make it hard for you to park?
Yeah, I've noticed that. Well, my solution to this, I don't know if it's practical and probably costs too much, but I think it's the cost the public would be willing to bear, particularly the supermarkets when you've got someone who just parks over on the across two. Just have some spikes that go up instead of the white line. Just have some spikes that rise. Like in Robot Wars back in the day. You have the spikes that go up.
So if you have sensors on the white lines, if it detects that something's over it, but you don't want to do it straight away. You need them to park and leave. So after I'd say 3-minute window of being over that sensor and stationary, then a spike. And I'd say, you say spike, I think 4 spikes. Go straight up.
Into the car.
This way, it will also stop people leaving their dogs in the car as well.
Yeah. Or children.
You don't want to come back to that.
That is an expensive clean, isn't it? a spike through a dog in the back of the car. I think as well, like, this is obviously the ideal solution, but if we were to cost it and it didn't work, you have to go on a course. If you use your phone, if you speed, anything like that, you end up on a course. There needs to be a course for bad parking. If you are given a ticket, that's 3 or 4 hours out of your day where you're forced to park properly.
Yeah. On another one, I think we should stop calling them points. Points are a good thing.
Do you think?
Yeah, stop calling them points. That's the worst.
What should we call them instead?
Or I do know the country. I'm trying to think of the country now that calls them. So is it in Australia? They call them demerits.
Is that what they call them?
I believe so. Yeah.
It's
demerit,
funny, isn't it?
Demerit points.
Because I believe in France, you start with 12 and you lose them for every problem you cause.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you start with full and then it gets chopped down and down.
Yeah. So
we don't want to copy the French. No. What I'd say, I think we'll keep it simple and straightforward and in line with the straight talking nature of your premiership. Call them pricks. You got 12 pricks on your license, you're gone. You know, sort of 6 pricks, you're just about learning, but you are a bit of a prick. 1 prick, you know, everyone's been a prick occasionally. That is a sort of full measurement of assessment via pricks.
That should be a unit of measure for driving, because even that is a questionnaire. How much of a prick are you? You go, do you know what? I am a massive prick.
Emmanuel, Prime Minister, this has been amazing. You're on tour from now.
It's going all around the country until mid-June.
And where can people find out more about these tour dates?
EmmanuelStandup.com. All of the tour dates are listed there. We've had about, so far, I think 10 or 11 venues have now sold out, but there's still quite a lot of tickets left. And we're going to be looking at adding some extra dates. So all of the information is on there. And it's a really good show. I've seen it a few times now. And it's a lot of fun.
Great, man. Look, Prime Minister Emmanuel Sonubi, thank you so much for giving us your policies. I'm very much looking forward to implementing them all with Lauren. If you've enjoyed this podcast, thank you very much. Tell your friends, share it and rate us. I am Prime Minister. And just, make sure you're following us. Thank you very much. See you next week.
I Am Prime Minister is a Viral Tribe production. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter and YouTube @IamPM.